Cy, Perky, here's the deal. I know the Iowa Corn Cyhawk series is starting, but no matter who wins on the field, we all win when we choose unleaded 88, okay?
Chris Hassel. Two guys named Chris. Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery. From the Channel Seed Studios, this is Iowa Everywhere.
Channel Seed. Seedsmanship at work.
Good morning. Welcome to Two Guys Named Chris here on Iowa Everywhere. My name is Chris Williams. I am joined by Chris Hassel. We are in the Channel Seed Studios, presented as always by our friends at Fareway Meat and Grocery. How are you today, Chris?
Well, I got the Channel Seed polo on. There's a reason for that.
Looks great.
One, I love Channel Seed. A great sponsor of the program. I am in favor of seedsmen.
Is this homage to the harvest?
It is, yes.
The harvest?
Well, yeah, sure. It's that too. You missed a show. Van Wink got the show because he came in early and on time. So I went for a run this morning. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm soaked, man. I cannot stop sweating. I jumped into the chat without a shirt on, trying to stop the sweating. Van Wink got a good look, got a good long look, and all I'm wearing is this Channel Seed polo and a towel. That's it. Because I am just soaked from head to toe. I'm sopping.
You're very moist. Your forehead appears to be moist.
He went on a placenta pill binge and just sweated it all out, I guess.
Take those pills that you
they
got
do
in the
say they do say they're for menopause, which involves the hot flashes. I wonder if these. I brought them. Okay, you come clean here. Who sent these to me? You can't just keep sending me things and never telling me who did it.
I don't know who sent you the placenta pills.
Grass-fed placenta. The placenta is just roaming the fields of New Zealand, eating nothing but grass.
It is interesting, though, if it's for menopause, because I saw that on your video yesterday, and I looked them up. And so that I wonder if there's, like, hormones that are within the placenta that would help a woman who is, going through that stage of life.
But so then why are people right after they're having kids eating their own placenta? They're not even near menopause.
I don't know.
I'm trying to do a little unboxing event, like Darren Rovell does with his baseball cards. But I can't. I think it's childproof. I can't get inside the placenta. It's like, oh wait, there we go. You just have to be smarter than the average box.
When you I thought of a Seinfeld moment when you said that Van Winkle got a good look.
Yeah.
When they're at Russell's apartment in Seinfeld.
Oh, get a good look, Costanza.
Yeah, and his daughter. She's got the cleavage. Get yourself a good look, Costanza.
It's like looking into the sun. You glance, you look away. You don't stare. All right, now I've got another special. Do you want me to eat this on the air?
Are you going to?
Have you ever had placenta? Van Wink, what does it taste like?
Grass-fed placenta pill.
I don't think you're supposed to eat those.
What does it taste like?
Is it in a capsule or is it?
You probably don't chew it. You just swallow it.
Well, you're the one that you had some,
and then it dissolves in your stomach.
Guys, how do you get this?
Matt did the stir-fry placenta.
There's like 4 layers of just. I can't get this thing open.
Well, we got a show to do, Chris.
Well, I was going to do a live unboxing and taste test on the air. So if you don't want me to do this, don't send me this shit, okay?
I'm not sending you anything.
You did. You guys sent this to me.
I did not send you the placenta.
Who sent it then?
I don't know. But clearly people are finding ways to find your address. and that's not my problem. Maybe you need to be a little more private, Mr. National TV star.
Look at this thing. I can't get into this this foam top or this tinfoil top.
Pop it with a pen.
I don't have a pen. I've got a straw, but I'm not sticking my straw inside the placenta.
Retro Gamer Dad says, "Are our football teams this bad?"
Okay.
Hey, you want the hardcore football talk? You go with Doctorman and Leistico. The boys did a great show last night out at Circa in Illinois.
Hey, our ratings have never been better, so I don't know what you're talking about.
That's what's funny. It's like we will get the occasional people being like, "Oh, I just skip over half the crap because it's just bullshit." But like, Matt is right. The numbers just keep going up. So clearly, people like the placenta talk. All right, Hassel's got it. Let's see what this placenta pill looks like. Oh my God, he took it.
No.
Yeah.
No. Oh no.
Well, it's nothing wrong with it. Take the placenta, you wuss.
I'm now a placentaman.
You're disgusting.
For the first time in podcast history, host takes placenta live.
Didn't you read the warning label on the back of it yesterday?
It tastes like grass.
Yeah.
The
read the box again out loud to everyone.
Do not take supplement if you're allergic to any of the listed ingredients. I don't know. How am I supposed to know if I'm allergic to placenta?
Oh, it said ask your
We're about to
doctor.
find out.
It's a 500 milligram capsule.
I bet you're gonna feel great. You're gonna feel like herbal. This is gonna be really good.
I was talking to my wife
about
about
it last night. This is like the first time John Miller went to Colorado. Right here, we're watching it.
I was talking to my wife last night on the walk and telling her about the placenta pills and how they're from New Zealand, and she goes, "Oh, New Zealand is really stringent. Like it must be good because they don't let, it's not like America where you can just put anything and everything, antibiotics into your food and into your diet. New Zealand, they're stringent. So this is top of the line placenta."
Two guys named Chris here on Iowa.
I do have a secret.
Okay.
I didn't take the placenta. I took my
I didn't think you
I took my cholesterol pill.
God, you suck.
I opened the placenta.
Eat the placenta,
Man,
you loser.
Van Wink was really worried.
I
So you know
wasn't.
what that tells me? That tells me that when he ate the placenta a few months ago, something really bad happened to him. Because he was like, no. Didn't you read the warning label? Didn't you read it?
Those warning labels are all
concerned about your health.
Well, I would just sweat it right out instantly anyway. My God, I can't stop. So I wore the dark blue shirt to cover up the sweat. That's what's going on here. What a start to the program.
Interesting games this weekend.
Thanks for
Really
just
interesting.
trying to get us into the real talk here, Williams.
Cade McNamara is planning on coming back. We've heard. Give me the story behind that. So this.
Oh, you mean next year? Yeah.
Yeah. The Swarm guy made this announcement.
So apparently, I saw it in a tweet from David Eichholt that the Swarm guy, Brad Heinrichs, was on KXNO and said on KXNO that Cade McNamara is coming back next year. We have no idea what the deal looked like that brought him here, the NIL deal, and that's where these things get really hairy. Like, what was he promised? Was it
Kirk Ferentz isn't the coach? What if he retires? What if,
well,
are there any?
And that's why I don't think you can just take this as 100% Cade's coming back.
Yeah,
like you've got to allow for all kinds of other things, outside forces, whether it's Ferentz retiring, whether it's Deacon Hill playing really well and basically just earning that starting job next season. I mean, that's a possibility.
I have a theory on that. We'll get
or Cade McNamara deciding that, one, he wants to be done, or two, he would like to go elsewhere. I mean, right now, I think this is what you say. Yeah, planning on coming back. That's what you put out there, and you leave every possibility
guy
open.
The one making this announcement.
What's that?
Why is the collective
and that's why it's just real hairy. I don't know. I don't like. Was that part of the deal? Was he bringing Cade in for 2 years? Was there a second-year option to this NIL deal? Let's just say they promised him $500,000 for year one. Was there like more for year two? I don't know. That's where it's not regulated. It's not public. It could be anything. But I would hope, as an Iowa fan, that they're not planning on like giving him a bunch more money, right?
I don't know. Who knows? Like, that's why this thing's so. In football, there's a salary cap, and you know where your team's at, and like we have no idea. Like maybe they have the money to spend. I don't know.
Well, if you have the money to
No
spend,
idea.
you can spend it elsewhere, right? I mean, you don't need. Do you really want to
certainly,
spend
I
it on
don't
a
think
quarterback
one is-
who's had several major leg injuries, who hasn't shown anything yet here at Iowa? I think it was great what they did this year. Bring him in for this year, see what he could do. It didn't work out. But I don't think he should get the same next year. Do you? You think he should get the same next year if he decides to come back?
No, he's not worth as much.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying it's really weird for me to think through because it's just I have no idea, like, what are the options? Like in the NFL, it's like, well, this guy's a free agent, and that guy, you see where I'm going here? Like,
Also, though,
I don't know. Is he the best they can get?
I would also like to know the transfer rules, because you know that there's that 2-time transfer rule where you can't transfer a second time and play right away. Now, there's all kinds of ways around that. I don't know if being a grad transfer is one of them. Can he just pick up and go play at Kent State? Can he pick up and go play at Virginia next season? I don't know the answer to that.
I want to talk about. I kind of wanted to circle back to Monday's show where we were talking about Iowa, and I think we both kind of came to an agreement that it was like they're going to win 9 or 10 games still because of the schedule. Are we
without
sure
McNamara?
that,
You're saying?
Yeah, like honestly, like I want to take a step back here. Are we sure of that? Because by all means, and last week was, they had this great special teams output. You had DeJean was amazing. This defense, though, and their special teams has been really good after week one. Like elite. Back to that.
Yeah, remember when you thought Iowa State had the better special teams this year?
Still had the better punter.
You don't have the world's most famous punter.
I just like it. We're going to learn a lot this week. But if Deacon Hill is like Spencer Petras 2.0, and I'm banking that he is, because I think it has to do more with their god-awful scheme than it does the actual quarterback itself. Look what Cade McNamara was doing in an Iowa jersey.
Right.
He looked like a shell of himself at Michigan. Mm-hmm. Are we
Okay,
overestimating the rest of Iowa's roster to think that they'll even win 9 games with this schedule?
I want to ask you this, because you're comparing it to Petras and McNamara, and now you're saying this because Hill is in there. Why does it matter who the quarterback is? Why does it matter that it's Hill and not McNamara if they're all the same?
My point is, if you look at their defense this year, it's a really good.
So you're not
defense,
talking about the
not.
quarterback then. You're talking about just the schedule and this team as a whole.
I'm not. I think even McNamara at 70% is better than what you're going to get with Deacon Hill.
Boy, I don't know about that.
I believe that. I disagree with you there.
I don't know, man.
So my point is, if that's the case, if I'm right with that assumption,
yeah,
and the defense isn't as good, I mean, I know this schedule sucks, but I think they're going to lose to Wisconsin.
This goes to what I said on Monday's show.
Nebraska.
On Monday's show, I said I need to take a step back and reevaluate the way I evaluate games going in and matchups going in, because I was looking at it like, oh my God, their opponents are so bad that they're still going to win 9, possibly 10 games. Michigan State is terrible. They're going to roll over them. What did we see in that game? It was a struggle all the way until the end. They could have easily lost that game. So, yes, this past week I reevaluated. Because Iowa is much closer to the level of those teams than I thought. I thought Iowa was going to be substantially better, or at least quite a bit better, than a lot of the teams that they're going to play on this schedule, Michigan State included, Purdue included. And I don't think that anymore. I think that they are very close to the level of all these teams. Wisconsin, I think, is better than Iowa. But all the other teams, I think Iowa it's too close. And the way Iowa plays, that's going to make games too close to call, including this week against Purdue. So, yes, I'm with you. I don't think that you can just go into this schedule, as bad as these teams are, as easy as the schedule looks. I don't think you can now just expect Iowa to go 9-3 or 10-2, because they are very close to the level of these teams, and these teams are looking at Iowa as a team that they can beat. I think you look at that schedule, and the only loss I see is Wisconsin. That's the game I'm going to say that's going to be a loss.
You know
but
what?
You can no longer, Chris, look at any of these games. I don't think. You can't look at any of these games and just say, boom, win.
No, yeah.
I made that mistake last week against Michigan State.
Well, and again, if you don't have the miraculous punt return, and you don't win, right? But
you know what?
Every week
I keep
hard.
thinking. I keep going back to all the other times that you've said things like that before, and I can hear
know,
Kirk Ferentz, and he's like, "Well, it's football. It's 60 minutes. It's a total game. It's not about the offense. We make these plays to win these games. We get these punt returns. We get these turnovers. We get these safeties. It just keeps happening.
I know it defies logic.
A lot of it is because the level of competition. The competition isn't very good, so Iowa's better units, special teams, defense, can make a huge difference in the game, and the offense doesn't matter as much.
I don't disagree.
So when you look at that schedule now, what do you see? What is your?
They're 8-4.
What did you predict them to be going into the season?
I think I had them at 9-3.
So we both had them 9-3.
Yeah, I think so. They're losing to Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. And then you have them losing to two other.
And I think throw Rutgers, Nebraska, and Minnesota and Purdue all up in the air, and they're going to lose 2 of the 4. That's where I have them. I think they're going to lose this weekend.
If Cade McNamara was still playing, you'd have them at 9-3. So you're knocking them. You're docking them one loss, one game, because of the McNamara injury.
And more for me is Lachey even. Once you factor in both of those guys out,
huge.
You know what I mean? Especially for this quarterback Deacon Hill that's never really played at this level, right? What's his background again? He was at Wisconsin with that guy who was.
Are you talking about Deacon Hill?
Yeah.
Okay. Deacon Hill.
He wasn't recruited, right? He didn't have.
No, he was a pretty good recruit.
What is this?
This is his Andy Reid phase. This was somebody put that out on Twitter. I'm sure Matt can get the name. It's a video of him playing youth football, and he's twice the size of everybody else, playing quarterback, running in mud, but just trucking everybody. But Williams, he was a 4-star quarterback.
Yeah.
At 24/7 Sports. He was a good high school quarterback, but here's the thing. This is where it gets weird, okay? He hasn't played since pre-COVID. Hasn't played at all. 2019 was his last year. Then didn't have his senior
terrible scheme where every defense knows exactly what you're going to do. Your receivers can't catch. And we're expecting this guy to just be like, yeah, hey, we're going to rise the level of the offense, right? I don't know. Maybe I will say this. Can I get to my kitchen refresh while we're on topic?
You didn't even let me finish what his path was to Iowa. You asked me.
He goes to Wisconsin. He shows up in Iowa with that guy.
Will you listen to me? God damn it! You keep interrupting me today, and you're real low. I can't. Is he low, Van Wink, or is that just me in my ears?
These goddamn snot-nosed
You're like
kids
a little
play with my
gnat.
microphone.
You're like a gnat today. So he goes to Wisconsin as a 4-star, but he can't even break out of the scout team. He's not even getting reps in practice. He's not with the ones, obviously. Never started, never played. He wasn't even with the 2s. So this guy was getting no work whatsoever. That's why he transferred to Iowa in hopes of finally breaking through, finally getting some reps. So not only has this guy not played since 2019, he was hardly getting any real practice work until this season at Iowa. Anywho, break into your kitchen refresh. Tyler Talkman, by the way, was the one, thank you, Matt, that posted the video of of the dump truck, Deacon Hill, just trucking kids.
Kitchen refresh Iowa, baby. They were here yesterday, getting the old kitchen ready. These guys are phenomenal, actually. They so what they do, I've learned more about the process in the last week. They'll make your kitchen look brand new, and it's like 25 to 30% of the cost of, like, if you've ever shopped for cabinets, you may as well get a new house, because cabinets are like the most expensive crap you can imagine in your kitchen. These
Seriously?
guys keep your cabinet, but they give everything a facelift. It's a phenomenal deal. And they're, especially with interest rates the way they are right now, a lot of people may be wanting to work on their house because they frankly can't afford to move. These guys are phenomenal. I'm having it done at my house right now. kitchenrefreshiowa.com. Give them
Must
a
be
call.
nice.
Really good people, too.
It's the one thing I need to get done in my house is the kitchen.
Well, you can call them. Just like I did.
Just
So,
like you did. Give me a break.
The theory here is Saturday's game against Purdue the best version of Deacon Hill we will ever see? Because he's not overthinking this thing, right? Like, he comes in, McNamara goes down. He didn't look too bad. And he actually got worse as the game went on because people got wise to him, and everybody knows what Iowa's going to do every time that they line up. If they're in shotgun, they're throwing. It's very obvious. But we've seen these Iowa quarterbacks get worse the more that they play for a long time now. And I believe it's the scheme. Do you remember Nate Stanley in that game at Iowa State where he threw 5 touchdowns and we're all like, holy shit, where did this guy come from? This guy's phenomenal. It's Chuck Long out there. Yeah, by the end, he's okay. Jake Rudolph. We've seen this before. I think we're going to get the best version of Deacon Hill on Saturday against Purdue.
I think under that logic, the best we'll ever get of Deacon Hill was last week, because I think you're wrong. I think if there was ever a time that he's not going to overthink it, that he's just going to go out there and play football, it was last week when he came in relief of Cade McNamara. Because now this week, you got Brian Ferentz with his arm around him over here. You got Spencer Petras with his arm around him over here. They're in practice, and they're telling him, God damn it, you son of a bitch, don't you dare turn that ball over. Don't you dare run. Okay? I mean, if you see pressure coming, just go down. Okay? Because nothing good happens when you extend a play. Remember, that's what Brian Ferentz said last year. What's the upside? Quarterback extending a play. So I think he's getting that over coaching right now. But I would also say, and on the other side of that, while you are right, basically every Iowa quarterback has regressed. Like every Iowa quarterback who has started multiple years has Petras, Stanley, Beathard, Vandenberg, Stanzi, Rudock. The list goes. Drew Tate
did, yeah.
The list goes all the way
Thank
back.
God Brad Banks just got the hell out of there.
Right. Brad Banks and Chandler, they were 1 year. Mm-hmm. But they were, most of them anyway, were pretty damn good the first year. Like, remember Vandenberg coming in that Ohio State game?
Yeah.
In 2009? I mean, that guy
He
was
looked amazing.
lights out. Looked like he was going to be an incredible quarterback. Some of these guys had great first seasons, like Drew Tate.
But I also think they're playing with a lot more talent than Deacon Hill has at first. Most of these guys.
They were, well, yes. I mean, Deacon Hill doesn't have a
starting
lot of
level is
talent around
higher.
him. Yes. And they had a lot better offensive lines and running games. I don't think it's a bad theory, but
I'm just like you're right. Last week would have been better from the mind aspect. I agree with you, but I think this week will be better than in 3 weeks when there's all this tape out there on him. And
I kind of like this guy. I remember I can't remember which game it was, but he came in early on this season, and it was late in a game. It was a blowout. McNamara, it might have been the first game of the season. McNamara was somewhat on a pitch count, like he hadn't been practicing really, and we weren't sure he played, and the game was out of hand. Deacon Hill comes in. I was up 17 points with 3 minutes to go. He takes the snap, and that sumbitch just launches one, like 50 yards down the field.
Yeah.
And, I loved it. I want more of that. Like, give me a little gunslinger, okay? Give me a little bit of a gunslinger.
I believe that he can be a gunslinger. I do not believe your offensive scheme will allow him to do it.
Well, I don't either. I mean, I don't think that.
What do you have, 6 drops?
The Ferences are going to allow him to do it.
Yeah, I mean, therein lies the problem. I would also say this in defense of your offensive line. It's this all goes back to. I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. Like the Ferentz scheme aged, right? Like it was fine. You reference all the time. Go watch the Brad Banks videos. Like it was exciting football.
Oh my God.
Right?
But how is that even the same scheme? It's not.
Well, because it's not. But my point is, they've failed to evolve time and time and time again.
They've devolved.
Correct.
You watch some of those teams.
This has gotten worse over the last from 15, 10, 5. Right? Is the rest of the games going one way? They're going another. So it's become easier and easier for defensive coordinators to sit there and know exactly what they're going to do. Try being an offensive lineman in that system. So maybe the linemen aren't the problem either. I don't know. All I know is I watch football on Sundays, and I see a lot of Iowa offensive linemen playing who have played on these bad lines. Maybe they're not the problem. I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about Doctorman and I talked for like an hour on CW Pod earlier this week about this, and that's where it's just like I don't think that like just bringing in 100% Deacon Hill is going to be much of an answer, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I don't think they need, like you're kind of talking like Kirk Ferentz here. Whenever somebody talks about the bad offense, or what do you want to do? Spread them out 5 wide, and somebody asked him this week about Cooper DeJean on offense again, and he's like, "Well, yeah, I've thought about that, but then you think about all the snaps that he's taken, and he always makes excuses for why it's not going to happen."
I'm telling you the problem.
Iowa's going to have to score, I think, in this game, though.
I do too.
Purdue just put 44 on the board on Illinois. I know Illinois has been an extreme disappointment this season. The defense wasn't supposed to be the problem. I mean, that's a little scary. 44 points. I mean, if Purdue reaches 25, I don't know that Iowa wins this game. And you know what Purdue has done historically to Iowa, especially at Kinnick Stadium. I do think the offense is going to have a better game than they did last week to win this game. I don't know if Purdue is better than Michigan State. I think they are. I do. I do know that they're better offense. No question about it.
Mm-hmm.
And
they have a good quarterback too. If people don't know, he transferred from Texas basically because he wasn't going to play over the Manning kid and Quinn Ewers. So like this is I think he may have been like a 5-star guy. If Texas got him, he probably was.
It's a Hudson Card.
Yeah. So he's very capable.
Yes.
That's where I when you pull up Iowa's schedule and I look at it, to me this feels more like a loss than Minnesota. I feel like Minnesota.
I think this is probably the scariest home game that Iowa has remaining on the schedule.
Yeah, because like Rutgers and Minnesota, I feel like Iowa can just do what it does and beat them. I think this team will score in the 20s though.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to keep this team under 20. It will. And they've had their bumps and bruises this season, but it seems like they might have gotten something figured out last week against Purdue or against Illinois. So I do think the offense is going to have to be better, but channel what they did last year. Do you remember that game last year at Purdue?
Was that the one? Yeah, I do remember that one. Yeah, that was the one that came out of nowhere, right?
It was crazy.
Yeah.
The first half, it was like big play after big play after big play for Petrus and the offense.
Yeah.
I mean, they had like a 75-yard run. They had a 50-yard pass.
It was terrible weather. Wasn't it like super windy too? And we were all like,
I think it was really windy.
Play the under.
Yes. But I think the under hit. Iowa won 24-3 if memory serves.
Yeah. I remember that game now.
And that was kind of when they turned things around after that rough start and started reeling off some wins and then made their way back into the division race. But I hear what you're saying. Like, I don't think Deacon Hill is going to be some kind of savior, and I'm not saying that, and I don't think many are.
No.
I just know that he can do some things that Cade McNamara couldn't. And they're not small things in this offense. Like a quarterback sneak, you can laugh, but that's not a small thing in this offense.
No, I'm not laughing because I've seen it.
So do you think Iowa loses?
Yeah, I think they lose this one.
Wow. What's the score?
I think they lose this one, and then I just don't like the matchup. I think that they're going to Rutgers, Minnesota, Northwestern are much better. I think Purdue and this young head coach who doesn't give a shit, he's going to go and sling it around. I think you'll lose this one.
What's the score?
What is Iowa's a 3.5-point favorite, 3-point favorite?
I think it might be down to 2.5.
2.5. I'm going to go Purdue 24-14.
24-14, so a double-digit win.
Yeah, I think they're going to have like a come to Jesus week. Everybody looks around, and then and next week Iowa's better. But I think a lot has happened this week. I think Purdue is probably going to hit its peak of the
Ed
season.
says Tyrone Tracy's going to score 3 touchdowns. Remember him? Iowa transfer. He had a huge week last week, went over 100 yards. I don't know if Purdue is going to be able to run the ball in Iowa. I'm never too worried about teams running it on Iowa. But if they get the passing game going and open those things up, then maybe. And Williams, I'm actually with you. I think Iowa loses this game.
Yeah,
I think that Purdue.
If they were playing Minnesota this week, I would pick Iowa.
I would feel better. I would feel better about Minnesota. I'd feel better about Rutgers. I'd feel better about Northwestern. I don't feel good about this game. Even though they handled them last year in West Lafayette, I see Purdue. I'm right around where you are with the score. I think Purdue gets to 24, and I see it as like a 24-21 Purdue win.
Real quick, before we get to Iowa State, what the hell is this?
What is that, a dildo?
I just got a message from Van Winkle in the chat. Hey, somebody left a gift for you behind you on your desk.
What?
This is a stuffed animal placenta.
What?
Baby's first roommate.
Wait, so it's Van Wink who's behind all this?
Wasn't
Van
me.
Wink? You're the one that sent me the
Do you want a clue? You want a clue who it was?
Crystal
the little
Bloom?
brochure here says
It was Bloom. So that's what I guessed in my video yesterday, that I thought it was Bloom.
Oh,
that
this
sent
is like
me
a body part educational thing for kids.
Oh, it's not a dog toy?
You can get a uterus. You can get a cervix.
No.
You can get a bladder, a
No.
spleen.
Can you get
The gift to me was a placenta. It says, let's get umbilical.
Can you get a pair of balls? How about
Let
sperm?
me see if testicles. You can get a pelvis.
What? If you can get a uterus
Oh, you
and
can
a
get
placenta,
a breast, Hassel. You can get a breast.
Is it like a?
so you can only get female anatomy?
You can get a rectum.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can. Look.
What?
Buy a rectum.
What does it look
Wait.
like?
It looks like a little tornado.
I think these are sex toys. Does the
get
rectum
a
have a hole
tonsil?
in it?
Look at me and my little pet placenta.
Man, this.
Oh, that is the umbilical cord right there. Look at that. I'll be damned. So Bloom sent this over?
I'll say it's from the We Will Collective gift.
I'll say this. I do think I would rather buy grass-fed placenta pills and a placenta plushie sex toy than the Brent Bloom Amish glider.
So I got a little information on how that works. Did you see the
my
guys
God. You
on Twitter?
I saw that you kind of you called them out.
I didn't
And
call them out. They're big fans of the show, and they're really
the Amish
nice
are?
guys.
The Amish are big fans of the show?
No, these guys in Urbandale. I wish I could give them a plug to their store. I would give them a free plug. But what they do is they have a. I was going back and forth with them because they were fascinated by our fascination with the Amish, and they go to these Amish farms, and then they buy furniture from the Amish, and then they bring them to their store and sell them to people like us.
So it's a fraud?
Well, I mean, no, they're made by the Amish. It's just like we're not like driving down to Amish.
How do
country
they
to go
know
to their
that the
farms.
Amish aren't buying them from regular stores, taking them back to their little villages, and then saying, hey, we built this, so buy it for a 50% markup?
God, we have so much to get to, and we only have like 20 minutes left. We got to get to Iowa State.
We do.
We've spent the first 40 minutes on Deacon Hill, placentas, and Amish furniture.
Hey, I finally stopped sweating, though. Can you tell?
You look good. You're a little bit moist up there by your part, but other than that,
Yeah. It's greasy. It's nice and greasy. So Iowa State has TCU coming in, and I'm just going to launch into my refresh for Iowa State. It is time, folks, to get back to basics on the Hecock defense. Come on, man. What is this garbage?
What do you mean by basics? Can you define
Basics. Like, let's tackle.
that? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Let's put some pressure on the quarterback.
Yep.
Let's not let guys break wide open. Okay? This is not Oklahoma you're playing this week. This is not last year's TCU team. This is a TCU team that just got beat by West Virginia. I saw West Virginia with my own eyes a couple of weeks ago. And they were not very good, okay? They went in and beat TCU. It's time for Hecock to rise up, okay? Like, show us that this is just like a 2-week fluke. That this is not what this Iowa State defense is going to look like this season. You've got the home crowd. You've got a team in TCU that's reeling. Like, get back to your identity on defense. You don't have to be great, but if you play the way you did the last couple of weeks, Iowa State ain't winning another game this season. They're not.
And
If you play defense like that, there's no team you're going to beat. None. This is one of the more winnable games they have left on their schedule. And if the defense, the way the offense is playing now, if the defense can just get back to even average level, I think they'll have a chance to win this game. But if they continue to do what they've done the last couple of weeks, oh my God, could get ugly again.
And that begs the question too. Really interesting part of this matchup is that TCU's one of the top 10 like fastest paced teams in the country. Iowa State's one of the 20 slowest as far as getting plays off with these clock rules. And
I would say though, Williams, that those numbers are skewed because of the Iowa and the Ohio games.
Very true.
I think those numbers are a lot different the last couple of weeks.
Remember their Northern Iowa game? They won by double digits and only ran 45 plays.
I think that's before they really
correct. You're leading me into my point here. It'll be interesting to see what Campbell chooses. Do you want to try and get into a shootout with TCU? Art Briles' son is the offensive coordinator. Probably the third best quarterback in the Big 12 you're going up against.
I think you got to do a little happy medium between what they've been doing these last couple weeks on offense. Yes, the production is up on offense, but you're also putting your defense in a tougher position. So I think you've got to try to get something in between what they were doing the first few weeks and what they've done the last couple weeks.
I do think Malik Verdone will be back in the secondary, which is really critical. There's been a huge drop-off ever since he went out, so they're getting a little healthier. But you make the point, and you're exactly right, that they've got to get pressure on the quarterback. Enough dropping 8.
I don't know that I've ever seen a more comfortable quarterback than Dylan Gabriel last week.
Yeah.
He could do whatever the hell he wanted.
And he's really experienced and stuff. Now, this TCU quarterback's really talented, same talent level as Gabriel, but he doesn't have the reps. So you can frazzle him on the road. You can get after him and make him throw some interceptions. Their line isn't great. You can sack this guy. So the thing about Haycock is he's been bringing pressure, but he waits so damn long. And it's like, no, go out there in the first possession and get after him. I still think they botched the Iowa game with that. They should have gone after Cade McNamara.
100%. We both said it going into that game, and they did none of it. They didn't send any pressure. They just let him be.
So
bad weather for this game?
No, it'll be like 50. It's actually chilly out now. We have a cold front coming in. Like the high tomorrow in Iowa is like 50 degrees. So
what about Saturday?
Same. It's going to be
fine weather. So it's
going
to be cold.
Chilly. Yeah, I mean, it'll be 40 degrees probably.
Kick time?
45, 7 o'clock kick.
Oh, it's going to be cold, brother. The high is 50 and it's a 7 p.m. kick?
Yeah. My daughters this morning, it was embarrassing. They're kids from Iowa, for God's sake. And they get into the truck. We're going to school. I mean, it's probably, 60 out? You would have thought it was sub-zero temperatures the way these two kids were acting.
That's how I am.
Oh, my God.
I've been going on the road to North Carolina and Oregon, and the temperature at night gets into the 60s. I'm bundled up, baby. I've got a sweater on. That's Saturday's
forecast. That's Saturday in Ames. The low is 38.
But it's a high of 60. Williams usually
that's during the day.
Yeah, but Williams said the high was 50.
Tomorrow's high is 53.
All right, Saturday's not too bad then.
Amber
you get a high of 60, so it'll be in the 50s at game time.
Amber's going to have a forecast for Iowa and Iowa State for us later on here, I believe today, for your tailgates and all that kind of stuff.
That's great football weather right there, brother.
Yeah.
It's just too bad it's not a day game.
I know. I hate night games. I know fans like them. I don't like them. One a year is fine. If this is the only one, I'm good. I'm gotten to be the old man.
Yeah.
God damn it. I want to thank our friends at Channel Seed, as always, Fareway Meat and Grocery. We already gave a shout-out to Kitchen Refresh. We do have a new sponsor here on Two Guys named Chris. They are the exclusive sponsor of the CW pod, Steeple Ridge Bourbon, baby. I had to get you a bottle sent. Actually, Pat said he'd get you one in the mail.
Really?
Yeah. I will do that. This won't be like the Fairway thing. I promise. It's really, really, really good bourbon. So what we're going to do, and then we're going to get to our top 3 games of the week, but every Thursday here on the show, we're going to do a cheers. We don't have to. We're going to do a cheers to the freaking weekend. How about that? What are you looking forward to this weekend, Chris? Give me something you're looking forward to. We're going to cheers to a little Steeple Ridge bourbon.
I'm looking forward to getting to Athens, Georgia.
Nice.
Seeing the Georgia Bulldogs and Sanford Stadium for the first time. 93,000. Unbeaten against unbeaten. Kentucky against Georgia. Cheers to that. I'm heading out tomorrow.
I'll give you a cheers to something I want you to experience with me. I'll be at the RV lot at Iowa State tomorrow night. It's going to be nice and crisp. and we've got a Big 12 game and a Big 10 game both going on Friday night. Sit out there outside of my camper, drinking I'm going to get me some nice fall beers and just chill. And watch
You gonna get some pumpkin beers?
Oh, yeah. Pumpkin.
Oh, that sounds good.
Probably get some of the nice Oktoberfest. I bought an Oktoberfest that I kind of got out on them, but I bought the Toppling Goliath one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
See, I miss Oktoberfest beers and pumpkin beers because I only want to drink them if I'm in like a real fall setting. It's still 85 degrees out here.
Yeah.
Like there needs to be a little.
I got a flannel on today.
Needs to be a little nip in the air. Just a little nip.
Can I do a cheers to my Atlanta Braves too? Starting another
a
World
double
Series
cheers?
run. Yeah, 2 cheers. We're gonna take 2 shots of bourbon today. My Atlanta Braves starting the trip to the World Series on Saturday. I hate playing the Phillies though. When your team has to play that team interdivision. Oh, I hate that. Terrifies.
If you know me, you know I don't watch baseball anymore. But Will Middlebrooks was on set with us a few days ago. He filled out his bracket before the wild card rounds even began. And he said he had Philly easily advancing out of the wild card round, which happened. He said this series between Philly and Atlanta is the World Series. The winner of this series will win the World Series. And he picked the Phillies.
Not giving Houston any much of a chance then, huh?
Well, he's got Houston playing the Phillies in the World Series, and the Phillies winning.
He's got the Phillies beating the Braves?
Mm-hmm.
The Braves have one of the great regular seasons in MLB history. That's bold.
Look what happened to Tampa. They won 99 games. They started 13-0. They had the best home record in the AL, and they got their asses handed to them by the Rangers.
Okay.
Van Wink is bitching in the private chat. He wants to
just leave me out of the cheers, apparently. Jeez.
I'll get you a bottle of Steeple Ridge.
Yeah, do it. Cheers to 100 years of Jack Trice legacy. Iowa State celebrating this week with those cool throwbacks. So there'll be a lot of stuff happening. Yeah.
You were up taking photos and stuff yesterday. It looked pretty cool.
They got some cool banners, and they're going to do some cool stuff on campus this weekend. So they're actually going to be recreating the funeral ceremony they did for him on campus at the Campanile on Sunday after the game.
What?
So.
Wait a second. Hang
on. They're not recreating, but
I knew that was going to create a thing.
What? What's wrong with that?
Recreating?
Well, like this
Jack Trice's funeral?
Yeah.
Is there
they
going to be like a casket and pallbearers?
No.
Carrying around an empty? Are you? Don't. You're not digging him up, are you?
No, they had the ceremony at the Campanile when they brought him back, and they're going to kind of just honor him in a similar fashion, not the full ceremony.
Okay, so they're honoring him. It's not a recreation of the funeral.
Sorry, maybe
it's going to be like those Civil War battlefields. You got the
it's like the Civil War recreation, but it's the Jack Trice
No,
funeral.
but Jack Trice's family is going to be back for it. It'll be kind of a cool special moment. So
good.
Van Winkle's a big Civil War buff.
Van Wink, you're a big Civil War guy?
Yeah, growing the beard out to do the recreation this year.
Are you now? Which side are you fighting?
I want to be
South. Van Wink's a Southern. He's a Southern sympathizer.
You're gonna get some Southern flair this weekend, huh?
I don't even want to know
down
about
in
my
Georgia.
old relatives in that whole situation because I'm guessing
that's
it's
damn
not
Cox
something to be proud of.
What do you mean? Where you? Because do you come from South Carolina?
Legit, in my mom's family tree, I'm not embellishing here. Like, a couple of my relatives are pretty influential Southern politicians back in the day.
Really?
Yeah. 2 of them signed the Declaration of Independence. It was
what?
Yeah.
This sounds made up.
It's really not, but the whole South Carolina lineage is complicated. You'll put it that way when you get back into the Civil War days.
I am in the clear. One side of my family was still over in Europe at the time. The other side was just in Iowa, hanging out in a free state, just chilling. But I did see that, Williams. When I went to Charleston, South Carolina, and took some of the tours, and you do learn how complicated it is.
Oh.
As a kid, you think it's just cut and dry. It's not. And we'll hit this on our new political show called North versus South, debuting next week on Iowa Everywhere.
No, we won't.
It's John Miller and Steve Dace, and we will be moderating.
Oh my God! All right, let's do our top 3 games of the weekend. You go first, buddy.
Okay. Number one, I'm stretching a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little stretch. But hear me out. Marshall at NC State. All right? Marshall's unbeaten. Marshall has already beaten
great game. Great
Virginia Tech. You like that?
Yeah, that's a great game. I love
Marshall's already beaten Virginia Tech. They are in the Sun Belt now. An opportunity here, win this game, and all of a sudden you're dreaming if you're a Marshall fan. And that's a great fan base. Like, of all those Conference USA games that I did, all those schools, Marshall head and shoulders above for passion and the stadium atmosphere and all that. Now, this is at NC State. Wolfpack just benched their transfer starter, Brennan Armstrong. They're going to go with MJ Morris, who's a younger player that they were hoping to redshirt. But Marshall trying to stay perfect there. That is my first game.
Feels like NC State has really underachieved the last 2 years.
Oh, they've been not good. Now, Devin Leary was their quarterback. He transferred to Kentucky, and that's who I'll see this weekend against Georgia. Leary hasn't really had to do anything. Their rushing attack's been great. Leary is going to need to be a lot better this week if Kentucky stays in that game. We'll get to that game in just a second. My second game of the weekend, LSU at Missouri. Now, Missouri's unbeaten. They're ranked. This is a top 25 matchup. They can get to 6-0. Boy, it's going to be a zoo down there. Pun intended. Brian Kelly facing a potential 3-3 start. If they lose this game, now LSU's a 5.5-point favorite. But if they lose this game, he goes 3-3 year 2. I don't care if he won the division last year. There's going to be a lot of LSU fans chirping if that happens, because you know how quickly fans turn on coaches at LSU. I mean, look at the last 3 coaches they've had have won a national championship.
Yeah, and then they get fired like 2 years later.
Ed Orgeron, Les Miles, Nick Saban. I mean, there's a lot to live up to there if you're not winning national titles. Even if you are winning national titles, you're being shown the door a couple years later if you don't. And he's getting paid a lot of money. So that's a huge game for both of those programs. And then my number one game is the game I'm going to be at. College football Saturday night, powered by Learfield. It's Georgia, a 15-point favorite against Kentucky. That's basically the same line, same spread as last week when Georgia went to Auburn, damn near lost. They had to come back late and win that game. I don't know how close it's going to be. I just feel like this could be the game where Georgia finally flips that switch, turns it on, because they have not looked like the best team in the country. They're ranked number 1. They have not played like the top team in the country yet this season. And Travis says I'm going to be getting a look at next year's Iowa coach, Mark Stoops. 0 chance that happens. Mark Stoops is making like $10 million a year, and he has no pressure on him whatsoever. Like, that is,
he does a great job.
Josh Pate earlier this week called Mark Stoops and that job at Kentucky, called that the best job in the country because of how much he's getting paid. He's top 10 in money, maybe even top 5. And for the level of expectation, I mean, they jump for joy at a 9-win season. Mm-hmm. Jump for joy. And it's different. It's SEC. Like, they're not playing in the Big Ten West, okay? But, I mean, this would send them over the top. I don't think it happens. I don't think they go in there and beat Georgia, but it will be interesting if that game's tight late.
I think, though, my read on Kentucky is last year with Will Levis, they're trying to throw it all over the field. They got a little big for their britches. Yeah, I don't think they're going to win this, but
they've gone back to what they've done successfully over the Mark Stoops tenure, and that's just beating your ass up front.
I think they
running
can keep
the football.
It close.
But I don't, and they have not let Georgia like blow them out, but they've lost 13 straight to them, and the last 6 have been by double digits. And can you out Georgia? It's like Iowa and Wisconsin. Iowa really has not had much luck trying to out Wisconsin. And that's kind of the way Georgia plays. Can Kentucky do that? I don't think so, but we'll see.
I'll run through mine really fast. Oklahoma, Texas speaks for itself. I truly think that these two teams both, Chris, are playoff material this year.
Mm-hmm.
They've ascended so far ahead of the rest of the league, much thanks to the transfer portal. And Texas is a 6.5-point favorite in this one. I think – sounds crazy, but I think I'd rather have Dylan Gabriel than Quinn Ewers at quarterback.
Really?
He's safer, and you forget how many years he's played in college football. So this is fascinating. And I think the winner
Quinn Ewers at Alabama was unreal.
Lights out. Yeah.
They've been tested a lot more than Oklahoma has.
Maryland at Ohio State. And is Maryland the fourth best team in the Big Ten?
I think we'll find out this weekend. If it's not Maryland, who is it? Wisconsin? Rutgers? The drop-off from 3 to 4 is off the cliff.
That's where some intrigue is here for me. It's like, okay, all right, Maryland, let's see it. You want to be in that conversation? Mm-hmm. Let's see it. You got an opportunity this week.
Talia Tungavaloa to his brother. But again, I think someone in the comments, Iowa Nepo baby, says that it's kind of like Kentucky, Georgia. Are you gonna out Georgia? Maryland? Are you gonna out Ohio State? Now, you might have the better quarterback. We'll see. Buckeyes had that bye week last week. Ryan Day's still riding high off that Notre Dame win, but they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this one.
And then Alabama, Texas A&M. Alabama is fascinating. Everybody starts to panic after the Texas loss. You don't look good against South Florida. A nice couple of bounce-back wins against the Mississippi teams. This is a totally different deal.
Both teams have been quietly good the last few weeks. Like A&M had that Miami loss, and they've kind of turned things around. They're not ranked. They're close. This should be a really good game.
I actually think A&M is underrated. It went from being like heavily overrated last year to now like they're a little bit sleepy, lurking in the background. And the thing is, when you're Alabama, you get everybody's best shot, and that's one of the great home field advantages in college football. So that one will be fascinating. And if Bama loses that one, kind of like an elimination game for the playoff, not fully, but close.
And then all right, let's do that West is just wide open with A&M having the inside track potentially. Or
let's do our
Ole Miss
circa picks for this week.
It was pretty easy this week. We didn't have to go back and forth too many times. We've been on a roll lately. I mean, I don't want to jinx
feeling really good. Feel like we have a really good 4-1 week. Stuff. We're gonna take Detroit hosting Carolina for our survivor play. Full disclosure, we discussed Miami. Miami is hosting the Panthers next week. So our game plan here is to play these two teams, Detroit and Miami, the next 2 weeks.
I think ideally for this week you would want Miami. If it's just a 1 week thing, I think that game is probably more of a sure thing against the Giants. But looking ahead to next week, we'll be in a better position if we take Detroit and they take care of business. And then we can go against Carolina again with Miami.
We've had this conversation for like 3 weeks now. I don't like betting against Carolina if Dalton's the quarterback, but as long as Bryce Young's back there, I'm very content to keep going against them. So, full disclosure, we don't put in our picks until Saturday. So if we would get word that Bryce Young isn't playing, we may move off of that. Mm-hmm. We are going to go like this for our circa millions.
Ooh, we're 11-7-2 now, and that's 3 straight winning weeks, pal.
Yeah, we're
3 straight winning. We only have 1 bad week.
We are ascending. There's like 5,300 entries, and we are right in the top. We're in the top 20% right now,
which is great considering how we started.
Yeah, you got to tread water in this and have a shot at the end. That's the key, because these people that are way at the top right now, nobody's going to go 80% on the year. So we just want to tread water and go 3-2, 4-1 every week. We are going to play the Rams plus 4.5 at home against the Eagles, cross-country trip.
And And Cooper Kupp might make his debut this week. He's back at practice.
Yeah, this is a pretty easy play to take the points for the West Coast team. The Bengals -3 at the Cardinals. Are the Bengals now? Everybody's so down on them because Joe Burrow's injury and they haven't looked good. Are they underrated now? Like, are we undervaluing them?
This is it. Like, if they don't get this, their season's done, and I'm probably off of them the rest of the way. I'm betting on this being a get-right game for them. They're so much more talented than the Cardinals, and they're only laying 3.
I struggled with this one a little bit, but ultimately agreed with you, taking the Patriots -1 against the Saints. The Saints are not right. You like the idea of Belichick bouncing back after getting throttled by
That's what I like. Worst loss of his career.
Yeah.
The Saints have more turnovers than touchdowns this season. I like the Patriots at home.
Their defense is really good too. So they do have some injuries in the secondary, which is worth watching if you're paying attention to this and you bet on the NFL via Circa. I love this one. This is one of my favorite plays. Dolphins -11 against the Giants. Another get-right game. Feels to me like the Dolphins are going to be one of these teams that's really good in like September and October. Weather's great. They can run all over the place. And I don't know how the Giants are going to score at all against anybody right now. So, yeah, I like the Dolphins. I hate
it's a big. I mean, it's the biggest spread of the week, but
the 49ers hit last week, and often these spreads are this way for a reason. Finally, This was kind of my play. I like the Broncos over the Jets. And I know it's disgusting betting on this Broncos team, but come on.
Hey, they got their first win last week against the Bears.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying they lost by 50 2 weeks ago. There's this Zach Wilson. Everybody's talking about, oh, maybe he's not that bad now. Like that was a primetime spot. He's not doing it 2 weeks in a row. I get the Broncos at home against a bad off. I like the Broncos here a lot to win the game. They're 1.5 favorite. I like them winning outright. So there you go.
Let's do it again.
5-0. And our quarter 2 starts now too, so we're playing for extra money.
Okay.
Let's get after it. All right, Hassel, what's your what do you fly to Atlanta and then drive? How does that work?
Yeah, it's about an hour and 15 minutes from Atlanta, and it's a night game again. It's 7:00 Eastern time, and then next week, you know where we're going next week?
No.
Going to the state of Washington. It's Washington hosting Oregon. Both those teams are off this week. It's going to be a top 10 unbeaten battle. And that stadium, Husky Stadium, has always been on my bucket list.
Big Ten football, baby.
Big Ten football. Yes.
When Otts was out there, he would always like send me pictures of tailgating on like yachts.
Wait.
In Seattle.
He was at Washington?
Yeah, he was there for 2 years as an assistant. Remember when he left Fred's staff?
I guess I don't remember him being at Washington though. Yes,
yeah.
they tailgate on the water there.
Yeah, it's incredible.
The stadium is right on the water. It's not the ocean, but it's lake. I can't remember what it's called. Look at that stadium. Stadium is just awesome. Just awesome.
Can I be your intern next week?
Yeah, you should travel as like my my spotter.
Talk to the Learfield people. They know who I am.
That's true. They do. They're like, oh yeah, Chris Williams. That's right. They're like, well, yeah, he's a lot better than that Bloom kid.
All right, fun show. Maddie Van Winks, thanks for always.
Did we get to everything? We got to everything?
We didn't get to our off-topic stuff, but we can do.
Oh, that's okay. That's evergreen.
We'll do some Caitlin Clark next week.
Oh yeah, is that
with your barber?
Is it a week from Sunday, the Caitlin Clark game?
I don't know.
What is it, the 15th?
I'd have to look. I don't know.
We had media day this week for the Iowa men and women. I heard Fran McCaffrey says he's comfortable playing all 27 players that he has on his team. We'll get to that later.
Two guys named Chris here on Iowa Everywhere.
October 15th of that game, by the way.
So I think it's a week from Sunday, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening here on Iowa Everywhere.